you haven't watched Bluey yet, you're missing out on one of the best cartoons of the last 10 years, and that's no exaggeration whatsoever.
Hey, is all that crazy stuff still happening?
But do you really pay attention to the episodes, or have you missed the many mistakes that appear across all the seasons?
I can't believe.
Bingo's hand goes up, and you're about to see it right now. During episode 11 of season 3, Chili asks her husband to take care of the girls for 20 minutes, and to distract Bluey and Bingo, he pretends to be a sheep. When Bingo offers him some grass to eat, Mr. Healer pretends to eat it, but the little one isn't satisfied and says he has to really eat it. And the mistake that happens right after this is one of those hard to catch ones. Just as Bandit sticks his tongue out and grabs the little bit of grass to chew, Bingo's hand disappears. The mistake lasts less than a second, but if you pay close attention, you'll catch it. We bet you didn't see that one coming. Scenes like this one and many others are what you'll see in today's video. Another episode of Cinewave is starting. Still in the same episode, the bandit sheep bites and rips Wendy's sweater off the clothesline, but then just drops the piece of clothing on the ground. Nobody picks up the sweater, yet suddenly it completely disappears from the neighbor's yard. Could the wind have blown it away? In the same scene, you can see that on Wendy's clothesline, there's a blue sweater, a pink towel, and a yellow gym outfit consisting of a t-shirt and shorts. But suddenly, black socks appear on the clothesline, even though they weren't there a few minutes earlier. In the episode Magic, Bluey teaches her younger sister how to use magic, almost like a Hogwarts teacher. But during the scene where Bingo tries to use Daddy Healer's power, he and Lucky's dad are working in the yard. Notice there's a lot of dug up dirt, but when the scene changes, the dirt is gone. Then, during the dance between Bandit and Pat, the dirt is back as if nothing ever happened. Still in the same episode, when Bluey tries to use magic on Chili and throws Mom to the ground, Mrs. Healer falls where there are some drawings and colored pencils scattered. But when she gets up, the drawings are all together with the pencils in the middle of the room, and they're in a completely different position. Just a fun fact, this magical duel between Bluey and Chili is a reference to the wizard fight in The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. Everyone knows that Bluey physically resembles Bandit, and in this video, you can see that the animation forgets to paint the spot on Mr. Healer's head, which is probably something they also do with the main character. In the episode Mud, when the Healer sisters are playing in the mud, Bandit uses a water jet to spray them, and when the water hits Bluey's face, the dark spot on her face disappears, making the little dog completely light-colored, just like the sky. We're going to tell you a secret. There's a ghost in the Healer box that keeps moving things around, and we can prove it. In the minisode box, when Chili is coming down the stairs, we can see there's a clock on the wall in the background, and nothing else is there. But when the angle of the scene changes, a picture of Bluey appears out of nowhere. And what about you? Do you know any ghosts that visit your house? Comment with #fear so we can protect you from them. In the episode Fairies from season 1, there's an interesting mistake during the scene where Bandit is dancing with Bingo. Let's pay attention to Mr. Healer's eyes. He has a dark blue spot covering his head, right? But notice how the animation forgets to paint part of the spot on his eye when the two characters are spinning, causing Bandit to appear light blue for a second. Everyone knows that Bandit is light blue with dark blue spots on his face and back, right? But if someone asks you what color his belly is, what would you say? Yellow? In episode 14 of season 1, you'd be wrong. Watch how he enters the scene walking, and so far everything is fine. But suddenly, he spins his body and the yellow spot disappears, turning light blue out of nowhere. Now, in the same episode, they are facing a restaurant, and inside the building, you can see that the delivery person's face is completely white. But by the end of the episode, the animation adds a black spot to her head. Still in the same episode, there's a mistake that happens so fast it's almost impossible to catch. During the pretend food serving game, Bandit passes in front of Bluey, and for less than a second, her nose leaves her face and hangs in midair. Remember when I mentioned the ghost that likes to move things around the house? In mini-story 14 of Bluey's Little Stories, Bandit enters the kitchen. Notice there's a plate cabinet in the background and a small plant pot on top. But suddenly, the plant pot ends up on the other side of the cabinet. One moment it's on the right, and now it's on the left. How did that happen? Episode 5 of season 1, Treading Shadows, is truly a work of art. It's so beautiful, but there's also a mistake. During the game where the pups can't step into the sunlight, you can see the moms of Sausage and Coco are behind Chili. But when the scene's angle changes, the moms are in a different position. In the episode where the Healer cousins decide to have a horse wedding, with Bandit and Stripe playing the horses, when the bride is walking in, you can see that the animation forgot to paint the dark blue spot on Bluey's dad's face. Do you know which union is just as important as a wedding? Ours! So don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. In the episode Library, where we see Bingo reading a book while sitting comfortably on a giant cushion, which is almost in the middle of the rug, But when Bluey goes to take a picture of Muffin, the cousins appear through the lens of the imaginary camera. Bingo should be behind her in the photo, but the main character's sister disappears. In the episode where Bandit is making Bingo's birthday cake, Mr. Healer says that if Bluey picks up the toys in the living room, he'll give her a star sticker. But when you look at the sticker sheet, it seems like one star is missing. At first, you might think he took one sticker, but in the next scene, the star appears on the sheet again. Here's what happens. First, he's in the living room, and no stickers are missing. Then he goes back to the kitchen, and one sticker is gone. Finally, when he returns to the living room, the star is back. Want to see a mistake that lasts less than a second? This one is really hard to notice, but we caught it. In the episode Feather Wand, Bingo uses a magic feather to make things heavy. However, when she makes Bandit's yoga ball roll down the stairs to attack Bluey and Chili, her snout completely disappears from her face for a moment. No unfairness here. The Australian cartoon truly deserves the position it holds as one of the most successful television programs worldwide, but nothing is perfect, and there are mistakes in every season. You've probably seen the mistake with Bandit's spot in the episode Asparagus in thousands of videos, but did you notice that Bluey isn't the only one doing magic that day? That's because Bingo seems to have the power to pass through solid objects. Doubt it? During dinner, Chili tells Bluey about an asparagus that can turn people into any animal she wants, but what no one expected was the effect of turning Bingo into a ghost. Everything happens so quickly that it's hard to see, but we'll show you. There's a moment when Chili and Bingo are turned into lions, and when they attack Lucky's dad, Bingo's paw magically passes through the neighbor's paw as if it doesn't even exist. In the episode The Creek, where Bluey, Bingo, and Mackenzie ask Bandit to take them to a super cool spot in nature, there are 3 mistakes, and they all happen with the Border Collie. To notice these errors, let's pay close attention to Mackenzie. He's a Border Collie with a white snout and neck, 2 black spots on his head separated by a white line. He has black shoulders and white arms, and his legs are in this order: one white leg with a black paw, and the other black leg with a white paw. In the episode, this pattern changes. When he's coming out of the bush, the Border Collie blinks and the white spot on his forehead disappears. Remember the black spot on his face? When the kids make boats with leaves and release them into the creek, it seems the water is so clear that it makes half of the dark fur on Mackenzie's face disappear. And when they return from their day of playing in nature, Mackenzie's 2 legs are white. Was it dirty all this time? You know that in the Healer Pup's room, the beds are separated by the side of the room. Bluey sleeps by the window, and Bingo sleeps closer to the door. But there's another difference. The beds have the letter B, which is the first letter of their names. Bluey's bed has a capital B, and her little sister's bed has a lowercase b. But in the episode The Weekend, it seems the animation forgot this detail, and while Bingo is sleeping on her usual side, near the door, the beds are switched. Do you like barbecue? We think Socks hates it, so much that she can't even see it, and it's not even because the little dog closes her eyes, it's because she doesn't have eyes at all. In the episode Barbecue, when Bingo makes a mess with a hose, spraying water all over the yard, and the family rushes out to see what happened, the animation makes Socks' eyes disappear and her snout seems to be behind her head. This mistake is really hard to see, but it happens right when Bluey gets closer to the fence. We can give a pass to Ludo Studios, the production company behind the show, since many of these mistakes are hard to notice, but even a show as great as Bluey has its flaws. However, it's important to remember that none of these take away from the charm of this beautiful and fun story. You know what else is important? Having you here with us. We've picked 2 more pieces of content for you to watch. We'll see you in the next video.